Okay, somebody asked what the best leverless controller is. I got great news for you. Today is the great leverless spelunking. Not only do we have a ton of leverless options to look at, I have one that I haven't even opened yet. That's how many leverless options we got in this motherfucker. You guys ready? Hold on. A lot of people ask, hello streamer, I'm interested in purchasing a leverless controller. What leverless controller do I buy? If you're me, the answer is yes. Like, I got a stack here, here, I got another one here, I got a hitbox somewhere. So to start with, a lot of people will ask, like, hey, I'm new to fighting games. Do I need to get a stick? The answer is that all of them are fine. You can play on an arcade stick, you can play on a PlayStation or Xbox or whatever controller you want to play on. You can play on your keyboard, you can play on a leverless, which is basically like a keyboard, but portable and good for tournament play, and a little bit more durable if you don't want to beat up your keyboard. If you're wondering why people compare this to a keyboard, this is left, down, right, and then this button down here is up. You could set your keyboard to be like ASD and then spacebar is up, and then that's very similar to this layout, right? Is there an advantage to having a leverless over a regular controller or an arcade stick? Is there an advantage to having an arcade stick over a regular controller? Honestly, not really. All of them are good at different things. I think a lot of people think arcade stick is the weakest of the peripherals. They actually think that leverless controllers and regular controllers are better for a lot of modern games. The one thing that I think most people universally agree that arcade sticks are better at is like half circle or 720 motions in particular. Dragon punch or Yuken motions from crouch, I think feels really natural on stick. Whereas a leverless controller, it feels way more natural to do charge moves because holding back and then hitting forward right here is really easy to do Sonic Boom, or like you hold down and then you go flash kick. It's really easy to play any game where the movement is primarily left and right, especially, and micro movement, like just walking around, is really good. These kinds of controllers are great. And all of them have things that are easier or harder depending on the person and depending on the game and how it feels to you. They'll all take time to get used to stuff. So if you're like, I play on controller, if I just had one of these newfangled leverless, I could just do X or Y really easy. The answer may be yes, that you could do some input easier, but you might struggle in some other way, right? Now that we've covered that, let's talk about leverless. Which one should you buy? I am holding this one because from my experience watching and going to tournaments, this is the most popular leverless controller on the market. Some variation of the snack box Micro from Junk Food. They make this. This is like a family-owned business. Extremely portable. As you can tell, it's not that much bigger than my phone. They're really, really popular. They don't come natively with PS5 support officially through Sony. The reason that it is important is because PS5 is the primary tournament console if you're going to be playing fighting games offline. But there are options. There are like brick boards and stuff that support it. And I don't know if they're going to do a GP2040 option, but there's stuff like that, right? So this layout here, the 4 movement buttons, and then the 8 attack buttons is a 12 button controller. Very common leverless layout. They make this in a bunch of different colors, bunch of different sizes. They have like a bigger option as well. If you buy one that's not PS5 compatible, I think like the cheapest option is like $100 something, like maybe 120 or something. You can then later get an aftermarket converter. This is the snack box. This size is so popular. I have 2 other that are not the snack box that look quite similar. This is again 12 button controller, bigger jump button down here. This is from Granola Arcade. Same thing with this controller. This controller is from Tesseract. You will notice there's an additional button here and there's an additional button here. So instead of the 12 button layout, this controller has 14. This is a 13 button layout. So there's an additional button so that if you want to play like WASD style or you want to use an extra button here by your hands, this is a really common option that people are doing these days. Yeah, this is the Hypercube right here. Really like this thing. It's really nice. This is the Raindrop. Neither, again, are PS5 compatible by default. You can purchase them with Brooks boards or things inside that will make them work with PS5. But by doing that, you're dealing with the native firmware inside. So they have to update every time there's an update for the PS5. You need to go and plug this bad boy into your PC and then get it updated and stuff like that. This controller and another controller I'm about to show you has a new fancy pass-through device. You'll notice there's a USB on the side here. This is the GP2040. So you basically take this thing, you update all the firmware in it, and then you can plug in a like $20 Brook Wingman, I think is what it's called, or the Mayflash something or other. Scoop up a $20 converter right here. It's PS5 compatible. Really nice for controllers that have this functionality. This GP2040 has a lot of other things too. It allows you to change the SOCD, which is very important if you don't know what SOCD is. This is simultaneous opposing cardinal directions or opposite cardinal directions, SOCD. On like an arcade stick, I can't hold left and right at the same time because the joystick only moves one way. Some controllers, when you hold left and right at the same time, it's neutral. Some is the last input you hit. Same thing, up and down can equal neutral or up or whatever. The devices that have the GP 2040 in them have really easy SOCD settings that you can set. The option I'm going to show you next, this hot option, is really nice. It's similar to the Razer Kitsune if you're familiar with that. It's about $77 shipped to my house. This also has the GP, oh, it's on this side. There it is. Plug in a USB dongle here. So these are really cheap if you're looking for a leverless option in the budget category. A lot of the things I've shown are in that range from like 100 to 150 bucks. This is the T13. It has 13 buttons. You can also get the T16. It has 16 buttons. They have a smaller size one, so they have an option that's similar to this. They also have a metal option as well if you're interested in that. So something bigger. Just do note the difference in size for portability. Personally, I like this size of a controller. It's why I prefer this, and it's why I prefer the following controller. This is like probably my favorite for size and feel. This is the M-Press. This is the Evo edition. You can tell who sells it because it says it right there, Paradise. Extremely heavy controller. You can add weights or remove weights on the inside. SOCD and LED settings in it. This thing is extremely heavy compared to a lot of the other models, so it doesn't move in your lap. Big fan of this bad boy. Big chunky dude, which is what I'm looking for lap feel. Finally, if you're a tournament player, you want something that works natively on PS5. To my knowledge, there are two options that are licensed PlayStation 5 options in the leverless market, more expensive than the other options by a lot. And part of that reason, I'm assuming, is because of the native PlayStation 5 functionality. So you don't have to do any aftermarket stuff and hope that it doesn't break in a tournament. This is the controller you guys know I've been using. Very similar to some of the other controllers I've shown in size and layout and stuff. The Razer Kitsune. It is $300. Really nice controller. Big fan of it. Does not have adjustable SOCDs. Natively works on PS5. I don't own the Victrix Leverless. The Victrix Leverless is very similar to the shape and the body of the Victrix arcade stick. It is $400, I believe. This works on PC and natively on PS5 as well. It also has LED if you care about that. A bunch of the junk food options have LEDs as well. Yeah, it's got a little non-slip guy on the back here, little mats to rest so it doesn't slide around on your lap. It also has a little locking mechanism up here, and you put your cable in and then you relatch it. Boom, little tab there that you can lock in. Non-adjustable SOCD, which is important if you want to SOCD a way that's different from how Street Fighter is. They've said that they're gonna have a way to adjust SOCD at some point, but right now it does not adjust. Yeah, this thing leaves handprints a lot. For reference, every single controller I've shown you, I have been sent, except this, because it was $77 and I didn't even know who to contact to get, so I just bought one. Every other controller I've been sent, they've offered me a leverless at some point in my life or other. Like this, the Evo one is like 20 years old or whatever. Some of them have extra buttons and stuff. Razer has like optical switches that are like super fancy and have low response time. These kinds of things exist, right? But generally, these controllers are functionally the same. When you are playing a match of the video game against someone else, they're all the same controller, right? Like they all do the same thing in game. Performance and stuff, that's not gonna be a big factor. Really, there's a few categories. The categories to me about controllers are size. This is a mid-size option. This kind of size, I strongly prefer. So when your hands are up here, you have a lot of space to rest or float your hands and move around and stuff, very comfortable. Do you want something like this? If I was gonna head out to outside of my house to play video games, I'd probably want a controller of this size. If you dress like you're from the Midwest and you have gigantic cargo pants, you might be able to fit this in your pocket. After that, do you want to buy something that natively works on PlayStation 5? Are you cool with using a pass-through device? If you're going to a tournament and like Sony does an update on the PS5 and your firmware doesn't work, that is a possibility. However, you know, it is a much cheaper investment. The other factor is additional buttons. So this has one additional button up here. This is the standard 12 button layout. This is a 14 button layout. Many games now have macros or things you would want to hit, and having an additional button means that your hands, while resting on the controller, you know, you're resting your hands on the movement buttons. Moving to hit this is very easy, and you can map this to drive impact in Street Fighter or parry or something. And yes, additional buttons on your controller are tournament legal as long as there's not overlapping in inputs or things or macros or things like that that you can't have. If you map multiple of the same command on a controller and stuff, like that kind of stuff is not allowed. There's rule sets for tournaments. But generally having extra buttons is fine as long as you follow the tournament rules, which are usually pretty clear about what you can and can't have. The Daigo layout is a 16 button controller, I believe. Like he's got extra buttons in all of these spaces. For me, I don't use any of that, but maybe I should, I don't know. I usually don't even use the 2 extra buttons. I'm usually using 10 of the 12. It's really up to you what size you want, whether you want extra buttons, whether you want the controller to work natively on PS5 or not. So to recap, this is the Hot 42 T13. 13 is the number of buttons. Kitsune, native to PS5, 12 button layout, about 300 bucks. I think the Hot is about $60. This is the Empress. Again, another 12 button layout. There's always the hitbox if you want another mid-size option as well. For smaller options, the 3 that I have here, and there's many more. The snack box. This is like by far the most common controller I see. Weep. Lovely Hypercube Tesseract built controller, white and gold, very pretty. They have some other options on there if you want to check them out. 14 buttons instead of 12. The last one, another 12 button option that came in. This is the Raindrop. They have another option on there that's a little bit more stripped down if you're interested in that. The thing about Leverless compared to every other controller type is that the aftermarket options are endless. There's like 2 or 3 main stick options. There's like 1 or 2 controller options. There's 400 aftermarket Leverless controller options. There's probably like 6 or 7 aftermarket ones that I know about that I haven't tried yet, like the Mayflash one. There's the SGF one, there's the Punk Workshop one, the Mixbox I also haven't tried. There's Jason's Customs, which also looks really nice. There's so many that I have not tried. A lot of people ask me to review some European options. Like I know Squidbox got recommended just now, and there's another one. It's expensive to import the US options, so I wanna know about the EU options, right? And I basically was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get all these EU options in on time. So I don't know, but somebody probably does know. If there is a Leverless controller that you recommend that you think is dope that you want people to look at, post it down below so everybody can check it out, because there's a million different options. You guys want to hear how all the buttons sound? Should we start from the top? Okay, granola button sounds. Tesseract. Snack box is very different. Kitsune. Empress. This one's got some bass to it. The Hot. You can replace the buttons on literally all of these, I'm pretty sure. I like all these controllers. I don't think I've tried a Leverless and been like, eh. Like all of them are awesome. They all get the job done. They all have different feeling. They all have different material that they're made on. So like this is like a, it's not like a plexi, but it's like a glass feeling thing. Yeah, probably acrylic. That makes sense. You can see my hands all over this, right? It's a much softer feel. Like look at this bad boy. It is like a solid slab of plexi between the internals. Recommend all of them. Honestly, I don't think there's a Leverless I've tried where I'm like, I wouldn't recommend this. This thing sucks. Any tips for avoiding tendon pain while using Leverless? Practicing electrics is killing me. Take breaks if you have pain and stretch your hands a lot. And also when you're using your controller, don't press your hands down into the controller like this and play with your hands really tense like this. You see this? Keep your hands floated up here like this. So like do your inputs like this. Even if your palms are resting on the controller, but you're like, your hands are light and you're not like digging in, you probably won't have hand pain. It depends on the person whether you find them more comfortable or not. I would say that everything, as long as you play ergonomically correct and you don't have any like pre-existing problems, everything's probably fine. Make sure you stretch and rest your hands and don't overdo it. Listen. Somebody asked also if I had tried the ergonomic ergo box thing that Alex Myers has. This isn't the one that Myers uses, but this is like an example of what one looks like. He has a science class volcano and he puts his hand on it. It's fucking Cerebro. Charles, don't peer into my mind. And he does a spinning bird kick and he's pondering the orb. I've not tried the ergo box. I imagine it's very comfortable. What about that wouldn't be comfortable? Your hands are like this. Like that's like a very, like just playing like this.